All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Sentence to Greatness podcast. We have Coach Dave and Jordan Hutchinson back on the show. Welcome, gentlemen.
What's up, guys?
Thanks for coming back on. And
Pleasure.
today we're gonna have a pretty cool episode. I think it's something that needs to be covered. Not a lot of people cover it, and sometimes it's like an overlooked aspect of fitness and bodybuilding and health in general. So we want to talk about sleep today and the importance of sleep for fat burning, importance of sleep for general health, importance of sleep for building muscle, as well as, making sure you get quality sleep, and what things we can do to ensure that we do get quality sleep rather than, just kind of hoping, one day you'll sleep the right way. Because there's a lot of things that we can do. It's crazy what sleep entails and how much it can do for you. Just to start it off, how do you guys do on sleep? How do you guys do about prioritizing it? And do you guys actually, make sure it's a priority, or, it's kind of on the back burner for you guys?
Well, I'll tell you, my wife laughed when she heard you say that. So I'm bad for not prioritizing sleep. That's my biggest thing that I've been working on for a long time, is trying to improve that for sure. I'm not good about it.
Do you struggle? Do you struggle with going to sleep, or is it just like you got too much on your plate where you just don't have the time?
That I could fall asleep on a dime usually. Some nights maybe I'm too strung out from being in a rush, but usually it's just like rush everything so I can get to bed. By the time I get all my meals in and get to bed, it's late, and then I got to get up early. So more like not enough hours in the day, but I need to prioritize it better.
Man, absolutely. How about you, Dave?
I'm a lot better than I used to be. For a long time I did construction, so I was up every day at like 4 a.m. to do my cardio first, and be at work by 7. So I never really slept. I'd be in bed, same as Jordan, like 12, sometimes 12:30 by the time I got all my meals in, and then I'd be up at 4 to do cardio, whatever, go to work.
Yeah.
But now I can sleep longer, and I try to sleep longer, but my body's so conditioned to waking up that I still kind of and I toss and turn from maybe, 4 a.m. to 6, 7 a.m. when I decide to get up. Yeah.
See, for me, I've actually been doing really good on sleep. But I think the only way that the reason why I can be so good at sleep is my wife. She gets up for work for I don't know. I think she gets up at 3:50 in the morning or 4 o'clock.
Oh shit!
So we're in bed by 7:30, 8 o'clock. I'm in bed, tucked in. Yeah. You know what I mean? So for me, sleep
that definitely helps.
Yeah, it does. 100%. Because even on the weekends, by time if we get to 10 o'clock now, just because of our schedule, it's it's a miracle that we made it to 10 o'clock without falling asleep. So in that aspect, I'm blessed in that way that my wife needs to go to sleep too, because she wakes up super early and she likes her sleep. So it works out well for the both of us. But what I do struggle with is the quality of sleep for me. I will toss and turn a lot.
That's how I am.
It's for some reason, my sleep is just not very quality lately. And I don't know why it started. So I've been looking into things, trying to figure out what it exactly is. But I did start.
As you got heavier?
No, actually, it's when I started the mini cut. So I'm guessing it might have something to do with that. Maybe I reintroduced some stimulants back into the course of things. It's nothing crazy, but I haven't been taking a lot of stimulants at all in the off season. So I think that might be it. So we'll see now that I'm, done with that. I'm going to see if that helps at all. Because stimulants have a tendency, even if you take them fairly early, they can still keep you up at night. Sometimes it depends on the person. It can, keep you up at night, and, you're going to be tossing and turning and just won't allow you to get into that deep REM sleep that you need for rest and recovery.
Do either one of you guys snore a lot or no? I snore bad.
Really?
And I know I probably use a CPAP machine because my girlfriend tells me all the time, I snore bad. I'll wake myself up. And I think that has a big part in me not, having restful sleep. I could fall asleep, no problem.
Yeah.
But I don't stay asleep.
Yeah.
Yes, I actually have I've not done a sleep study, but I've had multiple doctors tell me I have sleep apnea, and that was way long ago when I was like 200 pounds. So
Oh
now
man, you got to get on
gotta
that.
be way. Yeah.
You,
So
yeah, you
there's
got to
multiple
get on
reasons.
that. That could probably, you know, and you're not getting a lot of sleep, so then the quality of your sleep is not that good either. So imagine
Well, I
how much.
say
George's going to put on 20
I'm
pounds
doing
after
better.
that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so it's funny because when you told us the topic was going to be sleep, I was like, this is going to be interesting because it's the thing I battle with the most in bodybuilding. So I am much better. So like me and my coach made a rule, if at all possible, always be in bed prior to 11:30, no matter what time I'm going to wake up the next day.
Yeah.
And so I've challenged myself to do that. I always wear the nose strips to open up
You're
my
breathing.
breathing every night. Now, I actually, funny enough, I have a CPAP machine that I bought from a
Still
friend,
use it.
but it's not like calibrated for me.
Yes.
And
Right.
is it the safest thing for me to be using it without a doctor's supervision? I don't know.
Yeah.
So I haven't used it in a few months because it's also really awkward to deal with and hard to sleep with. But
Is it the one that goes in your nose or over the mouth?
it's over the nose, and that's another issue. So I have a multifaceted issue. I actually broke my nose in high school, so I have a deviated septum.
Yeah.
And then I should have had my tonsils removed a long time ago. They're enlarged. So, like, basically, I'm screwed both ways. And but if I have a full mask, it would help me breathe a lot better because there's a certain point, if I move a certain way, I have to breathe through my mouth. And that CPAP, if it's blowing through your nose, you'll end up opening your mouth and air's just flowing out and drying your mouth out. And then you wake up like, what just happened? So it's it's complicated, but that's my biggest goal is to really fix my sleep and the sleep apnea thing.
Yeah, man. George, I think Dave is right. You're gonna put on 20 pounds as soon as you start sleeping, man.
Everybody says CPAPs are life changing, dude. Like everybody I know that has one, that's actually calibrated by a doctor for them. They said it changed their whole life.
Oh, I'm sure. It's just one of those things where it's like you got to just get used to it. It's super awkward, super bulky and heavy and annoying. And but you know, I have a client that sleeps. He has to hook up to a kidney dialysis machine every night.
Oh man!
And like he's like a walking zombie. Like he just doesn't sleep because that thing wakes him up all the time. So in my head, I'm always like, well, if he can sleep with that, I think people will be fine sleeping with a CPAP machine. You know what I mean? He's got tubes coming in and out of him, filtering his blood while he's sleeping every night. So I was like, okay, I can't complain about my sleep. I don't have anything like that hooked up to me. But anywho, so why don't we touch on what's so important about sleep and how it helps fat burning and how it helps with gaining muscle, because it works both ways. It's one of those things where it's just important all the way around. So, Dave, what do you think makes sleep so important for fat burning?
I mean, obviously, just suppressing cortisol in general, help releasing some water and stuff out of your system. But it's the overall recovery, like we talked about, I think, on the last show. Mm-hmm. The more muscle you're able to build, the more body fat your body's going to naturally want to burn. So when you're sleeping and you're resting and, growth hormones pumping through your system, which obviously, is a potent fat burner, and you're able to rebuild and repair muscle, your body's metabolism is also cranking at night while you're building and repairing muscle, while that growth hormone's pumping through your system. So your body's naturally going to use fat as a fuel source, especially if you're on a low carb or no carb diet. All those processes that are taking place while you're recovering are going to be driven by, the metabolization of body fat.
Yeah.
So while you're sleeping, the most of that happens. And I feel like that's going to be the biggest time that you could utilize, some of that fat burning properties, again, of the growth hormone and of the rebuilding and repairing muscle, while you're sleeping.
Yeah, absolutely. Right on. And the same could be said for building muscle as well. The sleep and the recovery, allowing your tissue to, regrow, the pumping of growth hormone through your system, all that goes into play when trying to put on tissue as well. Probably even more so than fat.
It's like a 1-2 punch.
Yeah. It's a 1-2 punch. Speaking of, have you guys ever had clients who check in with you guys, and then they're like, oh, I haven't lost any weight, or they're they said they did everything right that week, and then you ask them, well, how many hours did you sleep today before you checked in? They're like 3, and you're like, that makes sense. And I'm like, hey, just out of curiosity, send me your weight tomorrow morning, after you get some sleep. And they're like, well, I slept for 8 hours, and all of a sudden they're like 3 pounds lighter. Have you guys ever had that happen?
Yeah,
absolutely.
All the time. Well, I've had it happen personally, but also like one of my check-in template questions for my clients. I think the last question is, how was your sleep this week overall? Yeah. And usually that's the one question nobody elaborates on. It's just either good or bad or could be better. I'm like, so what does could be better mean? Like I need to know specific details. And then we get into it and it's like, okay, that makes total sense as to why things were so off this week or whatever. And I know personally for me, sleep and lack of sleep affects me so much, whether in prep or off season, but in a fat burning situation, like over my prep, there were days where I would work late and the next day work early. That day I was always 3 pounds heavier, 2 or 3 pounds heavier every single week. Yep. Because I had no choice other than I wasn't going to sleep as much.
100%. Now, when you guys do struggle with sleep, like I struggle with sleep bad in prep. Right? Once I'm in prep, like my sleep goes out the window. What are some things that you guys do to help you sleep? Like, is there any supplements that you take? Is there any relaxation methods that you guys use? Do you guys have a wind down window before you go to bed? Do you use blue light blockers? What are some things that you guys do to help you improve your sleep personally?
Well, me personally, I definitely use those blue light glasses. And if this is loud, guys, let me know. We have this Ninja cooker. If it's getting loud, I can go in the other room. Let me know.
No, it's all good. You're fine.
Is it kind of loud?
No, you're good. I can't even hear it.
Okay, good. Well, yeah, the blue light glasses, I always use that. In prep, once I got them, I need to be using them still. And turning off the blue light, most phones these days have a blue light setting that you can turn off at a certain time of night. Yeah. So I always make sure that blue light is down as much as possible by like 9 or 10 o'clock. And then I do melatonin when I have to. Yeah. But the problem with that is, if you do too much melatonin, your body adjusts to it and then you rely on it. So I try to use that once or twice a week, maybe 3 times if I need it.
So the thing about melatonin, like it'll help you fall asleep, but it won't necessarily make you stay asleep. So I don't know if you guys know who Andrew Huberman is. I'm not going to take credit for this, but he's got a great. I don't know if you guys listen to Joe Rogan podcast at all, but he was on Joe Rogan. Yeah. He's a sleep doctor. I mean, I believe he's a sleep doctor. I might be talking him out of my ass, but he was talking greatly about sleep and recovery a while back. This is, I don't know, a couple months ago, maybe not even a year ago. There was a few supplements that he talked about actually on the podcast. That's kind of like a sleep stack that he put together for people that will help you fall asleep, help you stay asleep, and help you stay relaxed and in a certain state while you sleep. And I've tried this stack myself, and it actually worked. And I actually tried it with a few of my clients, and they all say it's great. There's 3 things in it. I don't know if you guys heard of Apigenin. So Apigenin, magnesium threonate, and theanine. Those 3 things together, they all work synergistically to help you not only fall asleep but stay asleep. Because he said that he doesn't even recommend melatonin that much for it. So I tried that. It's definitely something. I'll send you guys the names. So if you guys want to try it out,
definitely
go for it. So
that'd be great.
Yeah, and those 3 things, they will actually help you stay asleep. So with melatonin, it's kind of like a love-hate. Yeah,
magnesium is great. I mean, I didn't mention that, but I've been taking magnesium before bed for I don't even know how long.
Yeah.
It's been
absolutely
forever. That really helps a lot.
Yeah, and the blue light blocker that you mentioned, I actually have on all my screens and my computers and my phone. I actually have the night shift on at all times. Like my
Yeah, me too.
my screens and my phone is all brownish at all times. People are like, "Why is it like brownish?"
Yeah.
I'm like, I got used to it, so I don't even notice it anymore. But when I like go to a normal screen, like when we do the podcast, I turn it off because I could see the color of everybody. Like it's like the weirdest thing ever. I'm like, this is way too bright for me. So I have those on at all times. There's also a cool function on if you guys have Apple iPhones. There's a cool function on your iPhones that's called, I believe it's called it's through Apple Health. I think it's sleep, but let me check what it's called. But you can
There's
actually
sleep and then there's night shift.
yes, well that's night shift. That's for the color, but there's actually an app. If you have an I don't know if it's so it is called sleep. So it's this thing. So you kind of set. Oh, you guys won't be able to probably see that, but it's called it's sleep on your iPhone, and it's got this thing called wind down. So you have like different focuses. So on wind down, it only gives certain apps permission to bring up notifications. So if somebody texts you, even it won't ding on your phone, but it lets the other person know that your phone is in sleep mode, so it won't be a loud notification, and they can actually hit a button saying like loud notify, like if it's important.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I've seen that on some responses from some of my clients and stuff.
Yeah, so that's been great for me, like because people text and message all the time, about the weirdest stuff ever, even clients. So that keeps my phone, like, it's been the quietest it's ever been, like, at night. And I started at 8 o'clock. So, like, at 8 o'clock, it also takes, like, an extra step to unlock your phone. So you can't just, like, go into apps easily. So it kind of keeps you away from this thing, while you're trying to wind down and go to sleep. And it tells you at, like, 45 minutes before your bedtime, it'll ring saying, hey, I'm starting wind down because you're supposed to be going to bed in 45 minutes. So it tracks everything. It's a pretty cool app. I never really believed in it, but once I said it, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, because sometimes I'll pick up my phone and I go to unlock it, and I'm like, and it says, sleep mode is on, and I'm like, I'm not supposed to be doing that right now. It's late. I'm going to bed. So it actually helps. Silly, but it helps. It's one of those things where I was like, okay.
I use that too. Because also, I don't know if you guys have the Apple Watch, but I use the Apple Watch to track my steps and stuff.
Yeah, me too.
I used to wear it to sleep. I don't sleep with it right now.
Yeah.
My wife sleeps with hers every night, but it'll track your sleep with your Apple Watch too. And then you can also, what you were talking about with shutting off the notifications.
Yeah.
It'll shut it off on your watch and your phone. At a certain time every night, and you can even make a schedule of like Saturday and Sunday I'm up a little later, or Friday, Saturday, and then the weekdays a little earlier. It definitely helps.
Oh, absolutely.
I've noticed it helps you wind down.
So and then with that, I also make sure that you wake up and go to sleep consistently, like at the same time, whether it's a weekend or weekday, because your body loves consistency. So like if you nail down your circadian rhythm to a certain thing, like it's going to be easier for you to fall asleep if you fall asleep and wake up at the same time every day. So I do try to do that even on the weekends. Like I'll shift everything by probably about an hour, just like an hour later at the most, but I'm not going to like stay in bed, till 10 o'clock, because it's going to throw everything off for me personally. So go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, and I'm guarantee you your sleep will get better. Another thing,
I also find when I get up early in the morning, my appetite's better. If I sleep in too late throughout the day, like I don't have the desire to eat as much, and I don't get a lot of meals in. If I wake up early, I feel like I get myself going early, and I eat well all day, and then I'm ready for bed earlier than the next night.
Yeah, what Dave said is exactly what I'm struggling with right now. So every single time, if my meals get pushed back the night before, so I'm up later, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to get 7 hours or whatever. Then I'm up in the morning later, and then maybe sleep in a little longer, then get my meal started later. Then I'm on that cycle over and over and over.
Well,
and I'm just literally force feeding myself. Whereas if I get up and, like Dave said, start my meals early, my digestion just runs better.
yeah.
Your body just runs better on like an earlier, go to bed earlier, wake up earlier schedule. It just really does.
And try to keep it around the same time. And your body's going to be like, oh, I know I'm doing this at this time. I'm waking up now.
Right.
I'm getting ready to eat. Now, speaking of that, because you mentioned the meal timing, now this is kind of a double-edged sword almost. What do you guys prefer to do? Like, if your client says, you know, if your client was to ask you, that's a better question, is if I am pushing, would it be better for me to go to sleep or wait up to eat my last meal?
I do get that, actually. I just got it from a younger kid. It's funny you say that. Just last weekend, he was actually snowboarding, you know, and he's a really good looking kid, you know, good physique, young, he's only 19, but he needs to put some size on, and he has a hard time eating. So, like, you know, I'm like, listen, you could stay up an extra hour and get this meal in. You know, it's not like I'm asking you to stay up 3 or 4 hours. An extra hour, an hour and a half to get a meal in, I think would benefit you more than going to bed now and missing that extra 500-600 calories that might get in your system before you go to sleep.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, but it all depends. Like, you know, if you have someone, I guess, that's in a different situation where, you know, their health and wellness, or they're just looking for a healthier lifestyle, you know, they just had a crazy workout or, you know, coming off a competition, you know, sleep might be more the priority.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, like, for me personally, like, if I'm in prep and I fall asleep and I'm sleeping, I'm like, nope, I'm not waking up to eat that last meal. It just it doesn't.
Your body's so depleted. You need the rest.
Yeah, you need your rest. Just sleep it off. In the off season, if you're making progress still, and like once in a while you're like going to a food coma and you fall asleep, you know, and you just want to keep sleeping through the night, I'm fine with that as well. What I'm not fine with is when somebody's, you know, not really moving or getting bigger or gaining any weight, and they're trying to, you know, figure out, well, I haven't gained a pound in 3 months or whatever it is. And it's like, well, I mean, you're going to sleep and you're missing your last meal, you know, 500 calorie meal times 7 times in a week. That's 3,500 calories. You need 3,500 calorie, either surplus or deficit, to gain or lose a pound. So there's your pound, you know. But if somebody's making progress,
the same thought process. To me, it's the same thought process as if you're in prep, or maybe not in prep, in a fat loss stage.
Yeah.
And you keep eating extra.
Yeah.
And you expect to lose weight. It's the same concept. If you're like trying to gain weight and you keep missing a meal. Yeah. Like, why you can't expect to keep gaining muscle, just like you can't expect to lose fat if you're eating what you're not supposed to.
Absolutely.
You've got to stick to the plan.
So I guess if you're making progress and you need the rest, just sleep. That's fine. That's totally fine. But if you're trying to, you know, gain some weight and, you know, you're consistently missing that last meal, then teach yourself to stay up and eat that last meal. Yeah. And guess what? That next day, set the alarm clock even earlier and force yourself to get that first meal in. Because if you push it back,
you can cram it down too. Like
I have some clients now, like they'll text me on the weekends and tell me, "Oh yeah, I'm going to do my fasted cardio right now," and it's 10:30, almost 11 o'clock. Yeah, and I'm like, "You should be on meal 3 already." Yeah,
yeah. Like in prep, I'm like really weird. I have to be like, there's a certain time I wake up, and it's like a daily schedule, no matter what. It's like the end all be all. Like, you wake up at this time, this is when I'm doing cardio, and by 7 o'clock, my first meal is in. That's the way it is, and I don't change a thing about it. Do you guys also struggle with sleeping hot?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm sure my girlfriend's like your wives; they're probably always cold. Yeah. So it's like I struggle, man, dude.
Yeah. If she could choose, it'd be 74 degrees in here all the time, and I wish it could be like 65 degrees.
Yeah, it's the same
over here right now.
Well, another cool thing, well, not cool thing, I guess annoying for bodybuilders is in order for you to fall asleep, your body needs to drop a few degrees from your core body temperature. That's why when it's hot, it's impossible to sleep. So I always tell everybody, like, set your AC at like, or your air at 65 if you have to. Like
Right.
hey, I'm helping your case out, Jordan.
She's in the kitchen. She was like, oh my gosh, no way.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. If your body does not drop those few degrees, it's going to be very hard for you to fall asleep. Your core temperature needs to drop in order for you to fall asleep. So that's why when you're hot, like you guys all experience that at some point. You're super hot and you're tossing and turning and you just want to punch a hole through the wall because you're so annoying that you can't sleep because it's freaking hot and you can't do anything about it. So I always tell people, hey, you're going to pay an extra $50 to $60, a month for your AC bill, but it's damn worth it. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Because it's better off. You're better off being cold.
Much better in a cold room.
Yeah, your body has to drop that core temperature. Otherwise, you're gonna have a really hard time sleeping. Right. And another thing that you actually can do to help that is take a hot bath like an hour before you go to bed, because like your blood vessels will dilate, and then your body's gonna try cooling itself down after you get out of that hot bath because you're really hot. That'll actually relax you. That's how hot baths relax you to help you fall asleep. Is it raises your core temperature, then your body tries to regulate, and it tries dropping because it's hot. So that's what helps you drop that core temperature to relax you and go to sleep. So I'm like, hot Epsom salt bath, hey, it can help. That's why people, take a hot bath and they get sleepy and they're like, oh, I could go to bed after they get out. So that's another thing that
I also have a sound app.
Yes.
Do you ever try one of those?
I have not personally used one, no. But I've been hearing great things.
Help.
Does it? How does it work? Yeah. I mean, you go ahead and explain it, man. It can help somebody.
It's literally just an app on the phone. You could pick a variety of different sounds you want to hear, any kind of water running or, wind, like I said, different variety of sounds. And you kind of set it and it'll just stay on all night while you sleep.
Yeah.
If you have young kids or something, maybe it might not be the best thing in the world if you want to hear what's going on in the house. But, me, it's just me and my girlfriend here. So we don't really need to hear too much. You don't keep it blasting, but it's that subtle sound that kind of just soothes you and keeps you sleeping.
Yeah. Supposedly with kids, kind of like a white noise or like a hum helps them sleep. So sometimes like turning on like the bathroom fan next to their room and will help them fall asleep. I mean, I've seen it happen multiple times. So that's like, it's like, there's something to it.
Like one of those box fans, I would have it. I mean, back when I lived by myself, I would have a fan just blowing straight at the bed at on high, a little box fan. But that white noise would help me pass out immediately.
Yeah.
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 It really does work.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. Like we have a fan on every night. Like we're so weird. It's winter here. We'll have the windows open. It drops to like 50s at night here. So it's not like it's hot all year, but at the night it drops to like 50. So both windows open. We have a fan on. Like I have my own blanket. It's like this like thin bamboo blanket because my wife sleeps with two blankets on her and I sleep in just that thin one because like she likes to touch me while she's sleeping, but like there has to be a barrier between us. I'm like, I cannot have your body heat coming onto me. So I have my own little like bamboo blanket that's super thin. And like at first, like I like a heavy blanket because it's comfortable, right? It took me like a week to get used to sleeping with that one. But now it's like every night I'm like a little baby. I'm like, where's my blanket? Give me my blanket. I'm going to sleep. I need my blanket. So I've been using that one. It's super thin.
Now.
What was that?
I literally don't even sleep under anything anymore. I sleep on top of the covers.
Yeah, try one of those thin bamboo blankets. I'll send it to you. See if you like it. It's at least it's like something covering you, but it lets air through, so it's kind of nice. I like it, So
something we also tried. I don't know if you guys know about this, and we've thrown around the idea of getting one for me. Is a mattress cooler. Have you ever heard of those?
No, but we have a cooling mattress.
Well, it's actually like something that you click on. So my friend, you guys know Juji Mufu. So
yeah,
I stayed with him, and he had a mattress cooler in the on the bed in his gym, and I was like, that was the most amazing thing ever. And apparently, they make it to where I think you can have one on one side and not on the other.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So as long as it doesn't freeze my wife out, I'm a eventually invest in one of those because it's so different when the mattress can actually stay cool the whole time.
Yeah, we actually
body warms it up.
Yeah, we have that memory. It's some kind of a memory foam hybrid that is like has cooling gel in it. So like it's always cool to the touch. We have one of those, which works great, but I mean it's still probably not as good as like actually plugging something in, like you said, to keep cooling it. But that's maybe the next thing I'm gonna have to look into.
Anything to cool me down at night. I need those ideas.
Yeah. No, seriously, it's hey, I always say this to my wife: you can put more clothes on. I can't take any more off.
Exactly.
You can always grab an extra blanket. Like I'm already.
We're all the same. We're all in the same spot. We're male bodybuilders, and we're gonna run a lot warmer than our spouses do.
Do you guys get cold in prep?
I do.
I get freezing.
I didn't too much. No, I think I was on too much stimulants.
No, I remember, my prep back in 2018, that show was in September, and it gets pretty warm down here. I mean, so I would be getting up at like 4:30 a.m. to do my fasted cardio during that prep. And I mean, it was 72 degrees, and I had my seat warmer on, my heat on blast, in a hoodie, driving to the gym. Like I was that cold.
Oh God!
It wasn't as bad this prep. I had some more muscle on me, but that one was bad.
Yeah, I get freezing. It's like as soon as I hit like that 6 weeks out mark, I'll just start running completely cold. Like it's almost like clockwork. I'm like always cold, wearing hoodies, and my wife even's like, "What is wrong with you?" Like I'm even getting hot in this bed, and you're freezing. I'm like, I don't know. That's just we're kind of bipolar when it comes to body temperature.
Well, that's probably the only 6 weeks out of the whole year, though. The rest of the year,
the rest of the year, I'm like sitting at a table eating and sweating. That's pretty much.
The food sweats.
That's the worst. You're at a nice restaurant and you're just trying not to sweat into your food as you eat.
Oh, it's funny because I have like 2 shirts that I wear out now when we go out to eat because they're both black and you can't see my sweat on them. Like I can't wear a bright colored one because you'll start sweating.
Always.
So all right. So to wrap it up for people, when it comes to sleep, it's one of the biggest components of fat loss and building muscle, recovery, and general health, and staying stress free and cortisol free, which, as we both know, is the biggest killer of physiques there is. High cortisol is just bad news all the way around. So make sure you start prioritizing sleep. So to wrap it up, some tips for you guys. Make sure you lower specific light exposure, or I would say bright light exposure before going to bed, at least like an hour or two. If you start using your technology too much again, go ahead and start using a sleep app that helps you with that, helps you remember that it's time to go to sleep. Prioritize your sleep. That's, I guess, a big one. Like, make it a part of your daily routine to get quality sleep. Make sure that you take it seriously. It's not something that's just on the back burner all the time, because it can help you out tremendously in whatever your goals are, and just in life in general, and being more productive, being more alert, being better at work, being more alert with your kids, having more energy to do things with your family. So make sure you prioritize it. Make sure you sleep in a cool room. Stay cold. Don't get hot. I'm going to, I'm trying to, I know your wife can hear, so I'm trying to get you some points over there.
I'm work on that
one. So, same with the bright light technology. So ideally don't watch TV before you go to bed. I know it sucks, but that's ideal case situation. Your body will have a hard time producing melatonin to help you go to sleep when there's bright light emitting at your face all the time. So stay away from that. If you have to, you can utilize some sleep aids, not necessarily sleep aids, but things to help you, like, melatonin, magnesium threonate, apigenin, theanine. the things that we talked about. Anything else am I missing?
Actually, I use a CBD product that helps me sleep.
Yes, CBD is great as well. So CBD, some people believe it, some people don't believe it. I believe in it. I believe it's a great anti-inflammatory. I believe a great stress relief.
It works on my cat when he needs to go to sleep.
Well, there's
psychopath, so we got to get him to knock out at night.
There's actually a thing where I don't know about cats. I know with dogs in particular, and I actually you guys both know Mike Lacombe. He has his own CBD line. He actually told me about this because my dog, he had some issues with like his ACL and he gets really bad anxiety when he hears like fireworks and stuff. Like he'll literally shake and from this big bad pit bull, he turns into this little thing that's scared of everything. So the dog's cannabinoid receptor system or whatever CBD uses, I'm not that knowledgeable about it, so I'm not sure. But it's supposedly like 4 to 8 times more reactive than a human's is, so it works that much better on pets. I don't know. That's what he told me, and I was like, oh, well, that makes sense because every time I give him CBD, he's better. So,
it does help relax me before I go to sleep.
Yeah, most definitely CBD. That's a great one. I didn't even think of that one. That's something that you definitely, and you make sure it's quality CBD because there's a lot of crappy CBD
out there. Yeah,
like
good reputable company.
Yeah, if you're paying like $25 for a CBD oil, it's probably crap. And the reason is it's very expensive to derive it properly. So there's no way that this company is giving you good potent CBD oil if you're paying like $25 for a vial of it. That stuff is not cheap, but it works. So make sure you hit that. Anything else that you guys want to add to that?
Sleep in a dark room. That's something that really helps me. Like if I can't go to sleep, like if I am hot, can't cool down, can't get my mind to shut off. But if the room is like super dark, that always helps me to fall asleep. And they say that really helps you to stay asleep better, get in a deeper sleep. So.
Yeah. I have blackout shades on my windows just for that.
Yep, we have blackout shades as well on all of our windows. And then, another one, take a hot bath to relax if you really need it. If you're having a lot of trouble falling asleep in prep or something like that, try to utilize that. And I think that's all that I got in my back pocket for trying to fall asleep and stay asleep. Obviously, make sure that you carve out enough time to give yourself that buffer time before bed as well. Like, don't go train and then come straight home and you think you're going to eat and then go straight to bed. It's just not going to work that way. Your body needs this buffer period to calm down, everything to kind of wear off, and a lot of the times with stimulants, some people that work out late at night, that's the most I hear about when my clients struggle is they work out like 7, 8 p.m. They take pre-workout before and they're like, well, then I can't fall asleep till like 1. And I'm like, yeah, you probably won't be able to fall asleep sooner than that because you're training for an hour to 2 hours, whatever it is, an hour and a half. By the time you get home and you eat, you are still wired. Your body will not start coming down for another hour or 2. So
I've been training around that time a lot lately, like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And I have had to cut back convict to like 1 scoop max if I'm training around that time because it's 150 milligrams of caffeine. And usually I'm still okay to fall asleep just fine.
Yeah.
But when I was doing a scoop and a half or 2 scoops on leg days, and that was at 7 o'clock, I wasn't sleeping. So,
yeah, anything over 300 milligrams at a time is like, all right, you're not, nothing's gonna, you're up. So, and with that being said, with your timing, if you find yourself, you can never sleep because you work out late, maybe it's something that you can change by moving your workout to super early in the morning and then sleep through the night. You know what I mean? It almost comes out to the same thing. Obviously, depending if you're a lifestyle client, or if you're a bodybuilder, or if you're in prep or whatever it is. But if you're just training and you can't sleep because you work out so late, and then it hinders your day the next day, I think you're better off going to sleep and then just training in the morning before you do everything. That's just what I think. I think that you'll be better off doing that, because at the end of the day, if let's say you do, go train, you have an awesome session, but then you sleep for like 4 hours, you're not really recovered from that session. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like it's going to take you longer to get out of that hole to put you forward. Because if when you train, you dig yourself a hole, but you want it to be a hole to where you can get out of by the time you train again,
Right. Exactly.
So like if you keep digging yourself that hole deeper and deeper and you're not getting out of it, then you're not on the surface even. No, you're not climbing up. So that that's something you think about. Make sure you time it properly to where you have enough time where you have like a little buffer time and wind down time before you're able to fall asleep. I think that pretty much covers it on my end. Anything else you guys want to add on that?
Yeah.
No, that was pretty good, man.
It all for me.
Awesome. Did you guys get any decent questions?
It was weird. I don't even know if mine was working. I'm wondering if my question button worked because I got nothing. And last week I got a ton of questions.
And it's funny because last week it was like a last second thing.
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird.
Those always almost work better.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got a few. Okay, so Jacob asked, what exercises are going to give the most stress and help build more rear delt and top CHE? Top chi? I don't know. Maybe the top of your back. Well, I think he's asking for rear delt development. What exercises are going to give the most stress and help build more rear delt and top chi? What's top chi? I'm pretty sure that's a typo.
Yeah, it's got to be.
He may have been.
Maybe been trapped.
Something and got cut off.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, take it away. What do you guys think? What are the exercises that are going to give the most stress and help build more rear delt?
Anytime you're doing a rowing motion, so I only train my rear delts in an isolation move, like one exercise per week. But I'll do rows that involve my whole upper back. So anything, where you're pulling your elbow into your side, you're going lat, and then as your elbows come up, you're going to get more and more and more rear delts, where you can't quite pull back as far as if you're down here hitting your lats. But I think, any kind of rowing motion or you can do those rope pulls. Mm-hmm. But I really feel like heavier rows coming out like this, like the hammer strength machine.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever use the handles that are like out here.
Wide ones,
and you're coming. The wide ones. I don't know if you can see me on the camera. It'll probably be wider on the YouTube video, but come out wider. Those really hit my upper back and rear delts really well. And then, of course, like reverse pec deck as well, so I would use for my rear delts.
Yeah, I think reverse pec deck for me is one of my favorite ones. I like having a like chest support on like a rear delt movement, so I can't really pivot too much like at my hips. So I like somewhere where I could just relax and kind of be able to, because it's such a small muscle. A rear delt is so tiny, like you have to just find that particular spot where you're keeping most stress at it. So I would say a pec deck. Rear delt, pec deck, and chest supported rear delt flies. I also like kind of a face pull as well. If you're looking for rear delt and trap, like you notice, like a nice face pull, with slow motion, keeping those elbows high.
And then also, I guess what I was trying to say, was obviously what I was harping on wasn't as much of an isolation. I just think people don't focus enough on the heavy movements or compound movements that use a lot of different muscles for general growth back there. But if you're talking like, I agree with you, reverse pec deck, but then I don't know if you guys have done like the heavy swings for rear delts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the dumbbell swings.
Yeah.
Those are really beneficial if you're trying to isolate the rear delt.
Yeah. Yeah, it actually took me. That's an exercise. The heavy rear delt swings. People don't realize how hard that is to do properly. Because like anybody can just
Yeah.
kind of relax and let heavy dumbbells swing, but I mean, the like we've tried for like 3 or 4 sessions in a row to until I was finally like, okay, yeah, I feel it where I'm supposed to when I'm doing the heavy swings. It was like a really
Right.
weird thing for me to learn. I mean, Isaac was literally like, no, he's like standing there poking my rear delt, feel it here, and it
Right.
took me forever to find that perfect spot. I struggled with
Rear
those for.
delts are really hard, actually, because the thing is, it's the one counterintuitive movement where,
Yeah.
like, everything else you want your scapula retracted.
Yeah.
Like if you're pressing,
Right.
if you're doing a row. But with rear delts, if you want to isolate them, you almost have to like be in this awkward roll forward position.
Yeah.
And you can't come way back. So if you see someone doing, I'm sure you've all seen it, where someone's doing a reverse pec deck and they're coming like I can't even go back as far as I see.
Yeah.
Way back with their arms.
It's
Yeah.
a
And
much
obviously
shorter
you're
range of
not
motion than
getting
people
the-
think.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's such a small muscle. And I think for also traps and rear delts, like something like Jordan said, like something like even like rack pulls. I mean, that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's you can't overlook those types of movements because that develops like your entire back thickness almost. You know what I mean? Your
Yeah, you
traps.
can do those big movements and then just touch up with, you know, like I said, I only do one rear delt. And maybe I need to add some more volume. I mean, my rear delts aren't that great, but they've grown a lot just from really focusing more on the
other
heavy
stuff.
rows and touching them up
Yeah.
once a week with an isolation movement. You know?
Yeah. That's how we have our training set up where it's like you do a big movement, usually, you know, like if we're talking about a back day, like a bent over row or a rack pull, and then you do, you know, an accessory exercise where it's like more of a volume thing, like a lat pull down or like a high row type of deal, you know, just to kind of get more volume into it. But yeah, the bread and the butter is like the rack pull, the bent over row, you know, stuff like that. Usually if it involves a barbell, I usually think it's good. You know? So any other exercises for rear delts that you guys can think of?
I really just kind of stick to if like the reverse pec deck is taken, which it seems to be the most popular machine in the gym. I'll just get on a cable and do on the smaller cable stack. That's a little bit closer, not the big wide one. I'll just do reverse cable flies on that. And just grab the actual cable and just come straight out that way and do cross cable reverse fly, and that really works well for me.
Yeah. And then I got another one. Nick, how do you build gorilla glutes? How do you?
Who asked that?
Yeah, this kid Nick, he goes, how do you build gorilla glutes?
Some of it's genetic, but also squatting. So I've always had big glutes, but I had big glutes before I ever started training. But squatting deep and
That's it.
I mean,
Deep
again,
squats.
genetics come a lot into play.
I'd say like squats and split movements, like a Bulgarian split squat or like a split squat with a barbell. Like those two movements are probably going to be your best bets.
And even like RDLs, like a deadlift, even just a conventional deadlift, but also like RDLs involve your glutes a lot with a hip hinge like that.
Yeah, I squatted. Was it not this leg session that I did today, but the one before that, I did a barbell squat, and I mean my glutes were so roasted that literally I had to push my back day an extra day because my glutes like were so, and I knew I was going to do a bent over row, so I was like my glutes are not ready for for anything like that. So yeah, squats, man. People overlook that. They try to look for like the glute isolation exercise a lot, which again, I mean everything works. It's great, but don't overlook the stuff that is hard. Usually, if it's hard, it means it works.
Yeah, and it's how you squat too. I mean, like some people just really utilize their quads when they squat, and you'll see their knees go way forward, so you get a lot more knee flexion, and they're using a lot more quads versus some people squat a little bit further back, and they're really a lot more of the weights transition to their glutes. Like, so adjusting your form a little bit to take it off of the stronger points to move towards those weaker points. If you can adjust the squat, helps a lot too.
This is a good one. Who is winning this year's Olympia? Fuck.
I think Rami will take it again.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to lose this year.
What did you say? Did you say Hadi?
I don't know. It's tough. It all. I don't know. That's so hard, man. That's so hard to say so far out.
If anyone's going to push him, I think it's going to be Brandon again.
Agreed.
You think so? You think Brandon again?
Did you guys hear
I think
Rami's
he's the only one that can push him. Yeah, I did hear that.
Huh.
Yeah, Rami's 341 pounds or something like that.
Did you guys know that Rami did not train the entire offseason after he won the first Olympia title?
It's crazy.
No.
He literally took the whole time off until he started prep for the Olympia.
I didn't know he took the whole time off. I knew he took an extended period, but I didn't know it was the whole time.
Yeah, until he started getting ready for the Olympia, he didn't train. Crazy. That just proves how good this guy can be. Yeah. You know, like that's
what we were talking about earlier. I think it was before we turned on the podcast. Like, you know how long it takes to build that kind of muscle, but Rami's been around 300 for years.
Oh yeah.
So like he really doesn't need to add more size. Honestly, he needs more detail, if anything.
Yeah, just
I mean, how much more size can he put on? You know what I mean? Like how much more, how much bigger can he get at that point? Like
that's a maxed out physique.
You're the biggest human being there is right now. Like you know, it's like does that make you guys wonder? Like, are bodybuilders going to get even bigger?
I don't think the quality is going to be as good.
Because I kind of think that like open bodybuilding is kind of tapped out at the size aspect of it. But I could be completely wrong. You know what I mean? I could be completely wrong.
Look at football. You know, in the 80s and the 90s or the 80s, let's say, you know, the biggest offensive lineman was 250, 260 pounds. Now you got guys 330. You know, like it's just a progression. I feel like of every sport. So you know, who knows with bodybuilding.
So where's the progression go with our sport? You know what I mean? That's where I'm like, I don't know
how it can get any bigger.
Yeah. I wonder if
you'll just start seeing more and more guys at that size. You know.
That, or I wonder if
like now Rami's an anomaly.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll turn the corner the other way. Maybe you know how things sway back and forth.
Yeah,
I think they're rewarding like quality physiques and lines and symmetry and like maybe not at the Olympia, but in a lot of areas I've seen from the amateur into the pros, there's a lot of guys that are rewarding based on like a prettier quality physiques, not necessarily the crazy size.
Right.
But I mean, I think with the addition of classic physique division, they've been headed more that way.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's because I mean, obviously there's a progression of everything, but I'm like, I think obviously with how big these guys get, it's like how much can a human's health take to get even bigger? You know what I mean? Like, I'm being 300 plus pounds of pure. I don't care which way you look at it. It's just not good for you. You know, like
being 300 pounds of muscle or fat, either one.
Yeah, it's not good for you either way. So it's like I don't know where do we progress. So I think it's going to be like a ping pong effect that happens all the time. Like kind of like high waisted jeans and high waisted pants. Like 10 years ago, it was like if you see somebody wearing high-waisted jeans or high-waisted pants, you'd be like, what are you wearing? Now that's the thing. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like it goes back and forth. You know,
well, right now the most popular guy in the game is Chris Bumstead. So I mean, as far as the general population, I still prefer the massive freak shows. That's just me, but
I respect it more for sure. I respect open bodybuilding more, like because. I just know how much work and how much effort and how much everything that entailed to get to that level of human being, you know. So I respect it more, for sure. And well, and it's after that, it's just a matter of preference of what people look at and like which way do they like it more. I think Chris is so popular, not necessarily because of how he looks as well, but also like the way he carries himself. Like he's very personable, and you know he's got his YouTube channel, so people can connect to him a lot more. And I think that's what brought him so much of it. It's not necessarily his. Don't get me wrong, the guy has a fucking incredible physique. I mean, bar none, top notch physique, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But I think it's the whole package that he brought with being personable, marketed himself the right way, got in a few nice breaks with, you know, he was with, what's that clothing company? Gymshark, right?
Dark, yeah.
Yeah, so he got a lot of exposure through that. Obviously now, you know, being a partner in Revive or Raw or both, I don't know which one, like he just made a series of quality moves, and he always carried himself in like a light where a lot of people can connect to him on a deeper level than just lifting weights. Because not a lot of people can connect to just weights.
You know what's funny? It's funny, like, this is a silly thing, but it's the truth. Like, social media, like, my girlfriend knows who he is because of his girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like, what's her name? I forget even now.
She was a bikini Miss Olympia. Courtney King, yeah.
Courtney King, yeah. So, like, you know, he connects to a lot of females because of her, too. So, he's like a household name. You know, like, that a lot of people
Every
know
girl knows
because he's very public with all that.
Yeah. And I mean, kudos to the guy. I mean, he pulled off, you know, obviously worked really hard to attain what he has, but I think it's the work behind the bodybuilding that he did. That's what made him so successful, so extremely successful. It's not necessarily his physique, because how many bodybuilding champions have you seen that are like nobody really cares that much about, and they don't monetize that well, you know?
Yeah.
But him,
for instance, that's been one of the talking points about Rami is like, is he a good ambassador? Because he's like, you really hardly see him on anything. He doesn't have a YouTube. Right. He's hardly on Instagram. Like he's almost like a newer Dorian Yates in this day and age, because he like kind of just goes back to Egypt, and we don't really see much of wherever he lives. I thought it was Egypt, but you know, it's like the guys like Chris, he's set for life. He doesn't need to win another show ever again.
He doesn't. And good for him. You know, he can really focus on building everything else, and then, you know, competing it's not a must anymore for him. It's a want. It's I want to do this. It's not I need to do this anymore. And I think that's what, you know, having the freedom to do that can really allow you to enjoy what you do. It's not I must do this. It's I want to do this, and that's something that you know you can never replace. And speaking of that, you know how you said how, you know, Rami's not that, they think that might be a good Mr. Olympia because he's not a good ambassador of the sport. Now, do you guys think that that's why Hadi could never win an Olympia, is because they look at that? Because I mean, Hadi doesn't speak English very well. I love the guy to death. I think he has a phenomenal physique. He's always got a smile on him, you know. So it's like, but I wonder if that's almost the case. Why, you know?
I mean,
it's hard to say. I mean, he definitely brings like the most crazy conditioning of those top five guys, but there's also the argument of like, okay, he was just 212 not long ago. The guy's pretty short, and if you look at the structure of him next to Rami, I mean, it's pretty drastic difference in my opinion. But I mean, I prefer that physique though, so I don't know that that's necessarily why, because Rami doesn't speak the greatest English anyways. You know, but it is. I mean, bodybuilding is mostly popular in where the IFBB is here in America. So you kind of want to, if you want to represent the sport, you almost kind of have to adapt there.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to be Mr. Olympia.
Yeah, it's just an interesting thought, you know, because at the end of the day, somebody does run the show. You know what I mean? And I guarantee you they have a little bit of pull in what goes on.
I think so.
I think that at least a little bit. I'm not saying it's all of it, but I feel like there could be some word that somebody has when it's like comes like a potato or potato type of deal, you know?
Yeah.
You know, somebody's got to break that tiebreaker, and it's usually the guy that runs the show. That's just my opinion, you know?
Right.
But anywho, that's going to pretty much wrap it up for us. I mean, I kept you guys on for about an hour, so I feel like we covered some good stuff. Yeah, that's about it. You guys got anything else for me?
No, we appreciate it, man.
Fun as always.
Anything you guys want to plug?
Dave, you go first.
Obviously I started a new supplement company, AJ Nutrition, so it's AJ Subs on Instagram. That's my big push right now, to get that out to as many people as possible, see what they think, get their feedback, and hopefully, keep building the brand.
Absolutely. Yeah, I got some of your stuff. Like I'm saying, I just haven't opened them yet. I got to use my old stuff, finish up my old stuff before I do the new stuff. How about you, Jordan?
Definitely.
Just follow me on Instagram. I started a TikTok. I know we've all started a TikTok too. I'm trying to figure that thing out. I don't like TikTok, but
no, me either, man.
I'm trying to get with the times.
Yeah.
So if you guys follow me on Instagram and TikTok, it's both IFBB_Jordan Hutchinson. And then, of course, if you're interested in coaching, I know all three of us are coaches, so I offer that as well. But that's really all I have to plug. Just trying to figure this TikTok thing out.
That's a whole another thing. It's like all dances and stuff, and I'm like,
I don't dance.
I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I can't find myself doing a dance anytime soon. So my TikTok will probably be boring. You won't see me going viral on TikTok. Let's put it that way. All right, gentlemen. I appreciate it. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and share. And we'll talk to you next time.
All right.
Appreciate it, guys.
Take care, man.